I just arrived a few hours ago from New York. So very happy to be here in the beautiful city of Atlanta, where we have a very beautiful temple. As I was driving from the airport to the temple, I saw a very big billboard. You are now in the home of real happiness. Coca-Cola. A few years ago, they had an advertising slogan, the real thing. So if you want the real thing, that's God consciousness. And if you want to be in the real home of Krishna consciousness, then you have to take to God consciousness. So we do a short kirtan. We're a little late. Any more questions? You're playing? Jai Ram Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. We'd like to welcome everyone to the program this evening. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate a very important festival called Gundicha Marjana. Did I discuss that today? Did you all discuss this, Gundicha Marjana? No? Would you like to hear the story? Yes. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manavastam Sapakamena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kalamayam Anati Swahamikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Yesterday was the Rath Yatra.
Day before yesterday.
Yesterday, day before.
Day before yesterday.
2 days.
So a day or two before the Rath Yatra, there is a ceremony called Gundicha Marjana. This is very nicely explained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. How many of you have read the Chaitanya Charitamrita? How many of you have a set of Chaitanya Charitamrita at home? And how many of you would like to read it? The Chaitanya Charitamrita presents the pastimes and philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It was compiled by Krishnadas Kaviraj, and it very nicely presents the philosophy and pastimes. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as you know, is none else but the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahe Anya, Radha and Krishna appeared in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And his pastimes and teachings have been presented by three powerful acharyas. Krishnadas Kaviraj, who gave us Chaitanya Charitamrita, Vrindavan Das Thakur, who gave us Chaitanya Bhagavat, and Lochan Das Thakur, who gave us Chaitanya Mangal. So in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, this pastime of Gundicha Marjana is very nicely described. This chapter opens with a discussion about King Pratapudra. King Pratapudra was the king of Orissa, and his kingdom stretched till South India because Ramananda Roy was working for him, was the governor of Chennai or Madras at one time. So this king had a great desire to get an audience with the Lord. And the Lord went on refusing an audience. The Lord was playing the role of an idle sannyasi. And he said, the sannyasi has to be very careful. He can't mix with people who are worldly minded. And Lord Nityananda and the other devotees were requested by the king, please plead with the Lord so that I can get an audience with the Lord. And the Lord went on refusing. And then Lord Nityananda suggested, okay, if you don't want to give an audience to the Lord, maybe a cloth that you have worn can be given to the king. The paraphernalia used by the Lord is not different from the Lord. Just like his garland. I was told this garland was offered to Radha Shamsundar.
Yes.
Okay. Elachwa. Thank you. Like whether it's a garland or clothes worn by the Lord, They're the same as the Lord, so they should be respected. So the first step, it was suggested, why don't you give a garment of yours? And the garment was given to the king, who started worshipping it just like one would worship a deity. But the king was still so determined to see the Lord. So the king sent a message. He said, if I don't get an audience with the Lord, I am going to renounce my kingdom and become a mendicant. I'm going to wear those ivory earrings and wander around like a mendicant. And in response to this, it was suggested that the son of the king get an audience with the Lord. This son is considered the representative of the father. And the son was blackish in complexion, wearing a yellow silk dhoti. And when he saw the Lord got reminded of Krishna, and he embraced him. And when the son came back home, he told his father about the wonderful association he had with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And his father was also filled with ecstasy and began to dance. Just like a material epidemic goes from A to B to C. Like in the United States, they're very strict. You can't bring any fruits, vegetables, isn't it, from India? If they catch you with that, they have the dog sniffing at the airport to make sure that you have nothing inside your suitcase. Why? Even if you go to Australia, there's a big signs in the air where you can't bring fruits, vegetables and all that. They're crying. Because they're concerned that if something comes with some disease, then it could spread to other places. I remember a few years ago there was a disease epidemic, I forget the name. And how it started? It started with someone coming from Hong Kong to Toronto with that disease. And then one person got affected, and over time, hundreds got affected. So, spiritual epidemic also works in this way. Just like Prabhupada came to the West, he planted the seed of Krishna consciousness. And it went from A to B to C to D to D, and now there are thousands of devotees all over the world. So the king's son got an audience with the Lord, and when he returned and revealed everything to his father was so filled with ecstasy that he began to chant and dance also. A little later you will read in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that the king does get an audience with the Lord when the Lord saw his humility. So, Lord Chaitanya, on the day before the Rath Yatra festival, in Gundicha is the name of the wife of a king called King Indradumna. King Indradumna was on the planet in Satya Yuga, and he was a very God-conscious king. His constant meditation was, how can I serve the Lord? He had no other agenda. His agenda 24 hours was, how can I serve the Lord? And his association was mainly with saintly people. So one day, a Brahmana walked into the palace of the king and said, "Oh king, you don't know, there is a self-manifested deity on the planet, the deity of Nil Madhav. And if you ever get an audience with the deity, your ecstasy will know no bounds." And then the king sent all his brahmanas. It's a long story, perhaps we'll tell you in another occasion. So, and then this Nil Madhav became Jagannath, Subhadra and Balaram. So, this king had a wife whose name was Gundicha. The Gundicha temple was named after his wife. Lord Jagannath, after the Rath Yatra goes, and sits in the Gundicha temple. But the Lord can only sit in a clean environment, alright? Would any of you like to eat next to a garbage can? Would you like to sleep next to a garbage can? No. Would you like to sleep with garbage on your bed? No. So similarly, the Lord doesn't like to sit or come to a place which is not very clean. Of course, this pastor of Gundicha Marjana has a spiritual purport which we will come to shortly. So Lord Chaitanya called three personalities, Kashi Mishra, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and the superintendent of the Jagannath Puri temple. And he told them, will that be okay? Can you open the window and get more fresh air? Is that okay? Thank you. But if you open the window, you get some fresh air. Oh, mosquitoes.
There's a screen.
You feel more at home in. So, Lord Chaitanya told them, before Lord Jagannath comes, let us clean this temple. And the superintendent of the temple said, whichever you say will be done. The king had already told me that whatever you say should be done immediately. The king was King Pradapurna. So, hundreds of devotees of the Lord, they took part in this cleaning operation. And there were hundreds of brooms and hundreds of pots in which water was brought. Where was water brought from? A lake called Indradhamna Lake. So, the devotees were engaged in a massive clean-up job of the temple. Led by whom? In the beginning, the devotee said, my dear Lord, you don't have to clean this. You please sit down, we will do all the cleaning operation. But the Lord said, no, this is my service. Lord Chaitanya taught us, Lord Chaitanya taught by his personal example how to do devotional service. So hundreds of devotees were engaged in the cleaning operation. The devotees were kneeling on their knees, using the broom to remove the dirt, the dust. And every devotee was gathering dust and dirt. Lord Chaitanya was also sweeping. First, they threw water on the ceiling. They cleaned the ceiling. Then they threw water on the side wall. Then on the floor. Then Lord Chaitanya went on the altar. Lord Jagannath was going to sit. And Lord Chaitanya personally cleaned, rubbed with his hand, and then used a broom and water. The Lord Chaitanya used a stalk piece to also gather the dust. And Lord Chaitanya would go and visit every devotee and see how much dirt they have collected. And if they had not collected enough dirt, Lord Chaitanya would tell them, you will have to pay a penalty. And Lord Chaitanya would make those who were successful in accumulating dirt show the others how to collect more dirt. Just like in the material world, we acquire technology, we acquire abilities from those who are successful. So similarly, we also do this in the spiritual world. So Lord Chaitanya would supervise everyone to make sure they gathered enough dirt. And the dirt, dust, accumulated by all the devotees put together was less than the dirt collected by Lord Chaitanya alone. He alone was collecting more dirt and dust than all the hundreds of devotees put together. There was a Bengali Brahmana who came in that assembly. Instead of cleaning the temple, he threw water at the lotus feet of the Lord, and then he drank that water. The Lord Chaitanya was very embarrassed. He said, "This is a great offense. I have committed a great offense." What was the offense? In front of the deity of the Lord, no one should be glorified. In front of the deity of the Lord, one doesn't even offer obeisances to the spiritual master. In front of the deities of the Lord, in the temple room, only the Lord is glorified and nobody else. So Lord Chaitanya was engaged in this massive cleanup job. And as they were doing the cleansing operation, as they were doing the cleansing exercise, not one of them would talk to each other. They were all engaged in chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. They would be communicating with each other by sign language. Let's say someone needed more water, so he would say more water. He wouldn't say more water. He would just give it the pot, keep chanting Hare Krishna, and with this process, the cleaning of the temple progressed. First, they did one round of cleaning. But after doing the first round of cleaning, Lord Chaitanya organized a second round. Why did he organize a second round? To make sure that before Lord Jagannath comes and sits over there, that place is spotlessly clean, with not a speck of dirt or dust, and cool and bright, so that the place becomes appropriate for the Lord to reside in. So twice the cleansing took place. Now Lord Chaitanya organized not only the cleansing of the temple twice, he also personally went in front of the temple to clean that area. As you probably know, the temple architecture style in India is such that the temples have a lot of open space and open balconies for the light to come in. I mean, the modern day buildings are being designed in such a way that they are environmentally friendly, which includes leaving a lot of open space, etc., for natural light to come in. So, one disadvantage of the design of the temples is there's a lot of dust comes in also. So Lord Chaitanya organized the cleansing process twice, where every devotee was rubbing, scrubbing and cleaning. And after that, Lord Chaitanya went in front of the temple and they also cleansed the whole operation very smoothly. And in the Chaitanya Charitamrita there's a nice story of a devotee called Amogha. He was a son-in-law of a devotee called Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who was at one time a staunch impersonalist, but he got converted to the path of personalism. So this boy, the son-in-law Amoga, he would always be looking for an opportunity to find fault with Lord Chaitanya. He would spy on him, follow him around, just to see if Lord Chaitanya makes one wrong statement that he could broadcast to the whole world. And when Lord Chaitanya was invited by Sarvabhaumacharya for prasad, usually what would happen is, when Lord Chaitanya was on his tour, except to South India, different devotees would invite him for a few days. They would say, okay, please come and have prasad in the house for 10 days. And Lord Chaitanya would end up eating it for 2 or 3 days. Because there were so many devotees inviting him. So on one occasion, for 5 days, Lord Chaitanya was eating prasad in the house of Sarvabhaumacharya, who at one time was an impersonalist, but he got converted to personalism. And this Amoga would be standing outside the door. His father-in-law Sarvabhaumacharya would not let him come in to hear or see what was being offered to the Lord. But one day, Sarvabhaumacharya had to go to help his wife in serving the Lord. So Amoga came in and saw all the various offerings prepared by the devotee for the pleasure of the preparations were made by the wife of Sarvabhaumacharya. She had such outstanding ability that in 1 hour she could cook 80 vegetables. Today's ladies, even with microwave cookers, but she would cook 80 items in no time. So Sarvabhaumacharya had to go to help his wife. And as a result, Amoga came in and saw all these offerings that were not Lord Chaitanya. He started saying, look at the sannyasi. He pretends to be renounced, but he's eating more opulently than Ramsila. So Sarvabhaumacharya was very angry. He ran after him but couldn't catch him. And this Amoga got affected with a disease called cholera. And he was on his deathbed. So Lord Chaitanya went to him. Lord Chaitanya didn't want his beloved devotee Sarvabhaumacharya to be grieved. So he went to him, placed his hand on the chest of Amoga and said, as long as envy is in the heart, the Lord will not reside over there. So the point is, on the devotional path, there are certain anarthas. Anartha means that which is not necessary, that we are attached to, that should be eliminated if we want to progress spiritually. So this cleansing of the Gundicha temple has been presented by our acharyas as a symbolic pastime which has the following message. Just like Lord Chaitanya and his associates had to scrub the floor personally, kneel on their knees, bring the water from the well, wipe the floors with the dhotis. So they were endeavoring to cleanse the dirt. Now, is our heart dirty or clean?
Dirty.
Little dirty or too much?
Too much.
Too much. And more dirty than a piece of coal. That's what Prabhupada said. More black than coal. So we need to cleanse the heart. The heart is heavily affected by lust, anger, greed, envy, hatred, etc. So we need to clean the heart. So how are we going to clean the heart? By being in the shower for a few hours? How are we going to clean the heart? Cheta Darpan Marjanam as the heart gets cleansed by the chanting process. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally cleaned the temple to set the example. If we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we will also be able to clean our hearts. Our hearts are very dirty. And if we don't chant on a regular basis, then the cleansing process also becomes slow. So Lord Chaitanya showed us, by his example, the environment that we should create where the Lord will reside. That's why in ISKCON temple, especially in the temple room, we see a high standard of cleanliness because the Lord can only reside in a clean environment. And one of the two essential ingredients of deity worship is cleanliness and godliness, cleanliness and punctuality. There must be punctuality in service and everything will be clean. So Lord Chaitanya and his associates firstly cleanse. If you want your heart to be cleansed, if you want the dirt to be removed, then what should you do? Take to the chanting process. Another powerful message that we get from this pastime is how the Lord himself engaged in very menial service. He was doing the job of a bhangi. He was sweeping the floor, rubbing the floor by kneeling on his knees. He wasn't just giving orders, hey, you do this, you do this, you do this. He was personally taking part in the cleansing operation to teach his devotees how to do this. So, on the devotional path, we should be willing to do any service for the Lord. Sometimes we come to the Krishna conscious movement. We say, yes, I am ready to do service, but I want some service up to my stature. What is your stature? I'm a big man in the mature world, so give me some sahibka service. Some service where I can be the boss. But Lord Chaitanya showed us how one should serve the Lord in a very menial way. Scrubbing the floor, bringing water from the well, scrubbing the ceiling. This is a very menial job, isn't it? So when you engage in devotional service, even if we have to do some very menial service, we should be willing to do it. One thing that some of you may know, especially in the Sikh Gurdwaras, is the eagerness to do some menial service, the eagerness to lift people's shoes, serve water, etc. So Lord Chaitanya showed us how when it comes to serving the Lord, one should be willing to do even the most menial of services. And Lord Chaitanya, when he saw on the occasion of Rath Yatra, the king of Puri, King Pradapudra, personally taking a broom and cleaning the whole road on which the Lord's wrath was going to move. And then the king took scented water and washed that whole place so that it becomes clean and appropriate for the Lord to walk over there. So when the Lord saw he's the king, he did such menial service, he was very pleased and he gave him a special audience. During the Rath Yatra, Lord Chaitanya would organize 7 kirtan parties with each chariot, 4 in the front, 1 to the left, 1 to the right, and 1 in the back. And Lord Chaitanya was personally dancing in each of these parties. Maybe somebody take the babies a little bit away. They can go upstairs or basement. Okay, there are quite a few babies here. They're all competing now. So, anyway. So Lord Chaitanya was very pleased when he saw that the king was doing such menial service. He was very pleased and he gave him a special audience. And let him see how the Lord had expanded himself and was present in 7 kirtan groups, all at the same time. So, on the devotional path, we should be willing to do anything, any service for the Lord. In the story of Madhavendra Puri, you see that in order to serve the Lord, Madhavendra Puri went walking from Govardhan to Orissa just to bring sandalwood for the Lord. So when we have to make some sacrifice to serve the Lord, we should be willing to do it with enthusiasm. So our hearts are contaminated. And how can the dirt be removed? By the chanting process. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Chaitanya was, in the Parikshit Maharaj, questioned Shukadeva Goswami, how will people in Kali Yuga be saved? Shukadeva Goswami had already recited the hellish planets. And being a king, being a devotee of the Lord, devotees are paradukha dukhi. He was very concerned how people can be saved from going to hell. So Shukadeva Goswami said, in Kali Yuga is nothing but an ocean of vice. But there is one benediction in this age. That is the chanting of the holy names of Krishna. So we should all chant the holy names of the Lord regularly. Krishna has given us one tongue and 2 ears. Rupa Goswami says, the holy names of the Lord are sweet like sugar candy. But because our tongue is afflicted with the disease of avidya, we are not able to taste the sweetness of the holy name. But if you regularly chant the holy name, then again you will be able to experience the sweetness of the holy name. So we have a lot of dirt accumulated in our hearts. Lust is there, anger, envy, etc. And if we want to eliminate this dirt, then we should chant the holy name sincerely. The more attentively we chant, the more sincerely we chant, the faster will be the cleansing process. The faster will be the elimination of the dirt from the heart. And if we don't take this prescription seriously, then the result is going to be very slow. So the Chaitanya Charitamrita is full of these pastimes. And it is said that anybody who hears this pastime of Lord Chaitanya cleaning the Gundicha temple will be blessed with the love of God. So you all should make it a point to read this Chaitanya Charitamrita. Prabhupada used to say that Bhagavad Gita is comparable to high school, Bhagavatam to college, and Chaitanya Charitamrita to postgraduate. And it is said that by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, difficult things become easy. And without his mercy, easy things become difficult. And by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, a blind man can see, a lame man can cross mountains, a deaf man can hear, and a dumb man can speak. In other words, by his mercy, the impossible becomes possible. And how can you obtain his mercy? By chanting the Mahamantra. When you chant the Mahamantra sincerely, the Lord hears it, and the cleansing of the heart takes place. And you get real happiness. So when I came in, I told you about the slogan that I saw today. Welcome to the place of real happiness. You probably see those billboards everywhere. So people do not know how real happiness can be found. Just like Lord Maharaj said, people do not know how real happiness can be found. If you want real happiness, then take to Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is a genuine process of obtaining happiness. Krishna says, Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma Nasojati na Kamsati. So one who is transcendently situated, he is always joyful. So all of you assembled here are very fortunate. You got exposed to Krishna consciousness. Many of you are initiated devotees. Some of you are guests. Some of you are friends of Krishna. But the very fact that you're here means you have some element and some level of interest in serving the Lord. So please take to this process. Sadhu Sangha is very important. That's why the scriptures say, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shasahaya. Lava Mata Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhya. Even if you get a fraction of a second association with an elevated devotee, your human life can be successful. So the same people, they only have one goal, to make people happy. Give them real happiness, not false happiness. And I'm sorry to say, the real happiness cannot be delivered by the soft drink Coca-Cola. If you want real happiness, you have to take to the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. If we had money, we could put up billboards everywhere. Come, share real happiness, chant Hare Krishna. But unfortunately, we can't match their advertising budget. So we won't even try. But if you want real happiness, then take to the process of chanting Hare Krishna. Unfortunately, we hear about this so many times, but we don't take it so seriously. That's unfortunate. So please take the Krishna consciousness seriously. Rupa Goswami says, my dear friend, whichever price you have to pay, pay the price, but become Krishna conscious. So take the Krishna consciousness seriously and perfectly. Hare Krishna. Will anyone play?